But how do you breastfeed without eating properly, right? That's number one. Number two is that in that whole process, there's women who can't afford to buy milk, who can't afford to breastfeed because economical situation
doesn't allow,
because the mission of that food is to be destroyed. So statistically, 10 million tons of food being destroyed every year. The process called food wastage can feed 2 billion families 3 meals a day for 2 years. The cost of living in this country is very high. Food prices are ridiculously high. Retailers are killing it. And people can't afford to buy a decent monthly nutritious grocery as an individual.
It's all about influence. So please can we not patronize them?
Apparently 20 million South Africans go to bed hungry in South Africa. We know we have a very high unemployment rate and the level of poverty is increasing by the day. But think about it. 60 million South Africans, 20 million of those go to bed hungry in the same country. And today we're having Esther Padi, who's going to be telling us about how them as an organization, United Against Hunger, I think I'm saying it right. Union Against Hunger, are dealing with this. And she's going to break down these things for us so that we can have a perspective of every time we throw a party or we attend a dialogue, 750 million rands, there are 20 million South Africans who go hungry every day within the borders of South Africa. So, Esther, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a while, but thanks for coming finally to the studio. I was shocked when we looked at this and that you've never been here.
Yes.
We've never had an interview with you. But we are with you on the streets. We are in certain projects, but we never actually had a session. So this is awesome that you are here. Unfortunately, we are here on a very, very bad case scenario because of when you give me the stats, I was blown out that we have 20 million South Africans who go to bed hungry every day in this country. And it's something for me. So, but before we even get there, tell me and people who don't know you, who's Esther Padi?
Overall, I'm an activist. I believe I'm a human rights activist these days. I'm trying to fight for the rights of South Africans. Making sure that our community is informed and they're using their power to their best of abilities. I think as communities or society, we always give away our power. And sometimes that's not helpful.
Yeah.
I have been involved in politics, and unfortunately, right now, people will be shocked to hear that I personally believe that there's no politician that will change our lives.
Yeah.
Being in this space, I think I understand better now.
Yeah.
People must not hold me to account. Maybe next time, 2029, I'll decide.
You'll be in politics again. It's like, but she said.
I'm not contradicting myself. I'm just saying that as a politician, I guess, or as an activist, you need to fight to make sure that people understand their rights and their power is given back to them. Otherwise, generally, democracy is a scam. Anyway, that's me in a nutshell.
And a topic for another time.
Topic for another day.
But Union Against Hunger. What do you guys do and why your existence?
As the Union Against Hunger, we have realized that there is a very silent pandemic in this country, which is hunger. The way is so bad, it's so stigmatized. It's one of the times of HIV and AIDS, where people never wanted to associate themselves with people who are infected or affected.
Okay.
And I'm saying it is stigmatized because it's not easy for your neighbor or yourself to go next door and ask for sugar. You'll ask yourself 10,000 questions before you do that.
Okay.
People don't want to associate yourself because you know?
Okay.
And people are ashamed to go out there and say, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
But some go to extremes and stand on the road and ask for food and ask for money. But as the Union Against Hunger, we then identified from the research that has been happening, remember there has been a lot of existing organizations who have been fighting hunger. And I mean, in our communities as well, the soup kitchen. And when you experience that short space of time for an hour or so, where Banabatamagari Kaftini going to collect food, you realize that one kid will bring the kaftin, say, more than 3 or 4.
Okay.
And when you ask the child, but you're supposed to bring just one.
Yeah.
And then the child will respond by saying, no, I'm dishing up for my mom, my grandmother, and my sister.
Yeah.
So that means that there is a serious need for paying attention to this. And the Union Against Hunger, we felt that, yes, we might not have food to give to people now, but our mission, we need to advocate this and put a spotlight on hunger because it is indeed a crime against humanity.
I agree. I agree 100%. And I'm not sure if I'm pushing too far, but I would really want to get into an aspect of how do we get 20 million, a third of the people in South Africa having absolutely nothing to eat, and not for one day, for multiple days. And how did we get there?
Maybe let's start by asking ourselves a question for how many people are dependent on social grant in this country?
Okay.
How much is the poverty food line generally in this country? It's 795.
Yes.
Just for a person, one human being, to buy at least a basket full of not just food, nutritious food, because we also advocating for nutritious food.
Yeah. As one of our guests at some point broke it down, and he says, and when you're talking about the 795,
Something.
And he says that is what somebody can afford to buy food and nothing else to sustain. That means we're not talking about toiletries just to survive and have food.
As an individual. Yes.
That's how much you need.
Yes, it's a poverty food line, which I think it's not much because also the cost of living in this country is very high. Food prices are ridiculously high. Retailers are killing it.
Yeah.
And people can't afford to buy a decent monthly nutritious grocery as an individual. I'm not talking about, and you can imagine the systems of families in these countries. You're talking about a household that can house 11, 12 people.
Yes.
So imagine.
That's and 20 million people. Is this across the country? Is there other provinces that are struggling more than the others? What's happening? Because I think maybe if I can say, what hits me about this is that I get out of there and I go just on the road. There are Porsches driving around and you come and tell me that a third of the people in this country go hungry every day. And I think my mind is stuck on how is it possible? How is it possible that there are heavy brands on the road, the clothes that people wear on my day-to-day lifestyle, you know, and you tell me that there's a third of the population that is living, that goes to bed hungry. And that's why I want to know, maybe is it like Gauteng is clear of that, but just cross out of Gauteng and is this per province? What is happening? Give us the picture.
For now, it's a national status.
Yeah.
In the statistic in terms of people going hungry. But we know we have even higher provinces that have, that come with a higher rate. Eastern Cape, KZN, somewhere in the Northern Cape, the Northwest. But Gauteng has its own percentage, because remember, Gauteng has a very great number of a population.
Yeah.
Someone said Soweto is like a country, because
yes.
we have millions and millions of people.
Yeah. I can't remember the stats now. 4 point something? Or have we passed that? Yeah.
And you look at Botswana has 2 million or so people.
Yeah.
It's a country.
It's a country.
So imagine Soweto. So you don't have to be shocked
by
those statistics. And then it's why I'm trying to bring it home to say, we have how many soup kitchens, mollificationing, because the need is there.
Yeah.
Right? And I don't know, there's just a lot of things happening. How many people are going to collect their social grants? If you are earning 500, and I don't know what they earn for kids these days, 570 or something. 560, 570, yes. And you're taking care of a child, but you're staying with your mom and your sister and your brother. What do you think you'll get from ShopRite or Boxer with that money? So people can afford to buy food, but unfortunately it's not food that can last
nutrition.
them for the whole month. And always when I do our sessions, which we call hunger hearings, the first question I always ask in community members is that, how many people eat 3 meals a day?
Mm-hmm.
It can be a group of 200 people in a room.
Yeah.
It can be a group of 100 people in a room. And you will never see a hand being lifted up to say, I can afford 3 meals a day from the 1st of September to the 30th of September. Unfortunately, that's our reality. So that's where the stats come in. People have even came up with mechanisms to say, no man, I'll wake up around 11, I'll eat my breakfast around 1, and then 5, 6, I eat my lunch and it's done.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be like that?
No.
So the existence of the Union Against Hunger is to say, what has provoked us, I think, more than anything, is that our own constitution has made a promise to say, because Section 27, everyone has the right to sufficient food and water. And it goes on and on and on. Our focus is this: sufficient food and water. It was written when was our constitution completed? 1996.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was a promise made. It does not sound like a suggestion. And it doesn't say only if you are employed, only if you are white, only if you are male, only if whatever, you are educated.
It's all people.
It says everyone has a right.
Yeah.
Section 28 then comes back and say every child has the right to nutritious food. And our statistics as we're sitting here, 11,000 children die every year because of malnutrition and stunting.
Okay, you have to explain that to me. What is stunting?
So malnutrition, stunting is like, it's caused by malnutrition. So when a child is not breastfed, so from a child's conception to their 1,000 days, there must be some sort of nutritious plan for their child to be healthy.
Okay.
Brain-wise, mentally, physically, and so forth. And unfortunately, so look at what I was sharing in terms of the grant, it's about 500 family members of 11 people, and then you have a pregnant woman in that same environment. How are they eating?
Yeah.
Because as a pregnant woman, you need to eat nutritious food, the apple and whatnot.
Yeah.
In our grocery list as black people these days, you can't even come back with an apple or
That's a luxury.
Yogurt is, I don't know.
Yeah.
So these women get affected in their pregnancy journey because the baby is not being fed well.
Yeah.
When the baby is born now, there's also a new routine that the baby needs to take. But what we believe from our other partners, of the Union Against Hunger is they are advocating for breastfeeding for 6 months so that the baby can develop and do all of those things.
Okay.
But how do you breastfeed without eating properly, right? That's number one. Number two is that in that whole process, there's women who can't afford to buy milk, who can't afford to breastfeed because economical situation
doesn't allow.
So in many cases, you find these children who are not taken care from the womb, and then when they come out, they're remaining of the close of 1,000 days. So what happens is that they don't grow well. Most of the time, the symptoms that we generally see, they have big heads, malnutrition, they have big stomachs, but the worst symptom is that, and people were not even aware, even myself, they are very short. So sometimes you ask, how old is he or she? They'll say, no, 4 years or 3 years.
Yeah, and
some can't even talk, some can't communicate. You can tell that their brain is still very, very slow.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most of them don't stand a chance to live beyond 5 years. So if we continue the way we are and we don't take care of the families in our communities, it means that a whole new generation is going to be wiped out.
Okay. Do you have engagement with the government in all of this?
Government has been engaged by the previous partners that we have because, as I've said, the Union Against Hunger is a new baby.
Yeah.
It was launched this year, February.
Oh, okay.
So we are coming in more as an advocacy to say now we need to turn hunger into a political issue.
Yeah.
But government has been engaged, but because of the high rate of corruption and empty promises, even the promise of the Constitution has not been met. We are not getting anywhere.
Yeah, I must say this issue for me it's a bit depressing.
It is.
So my understanding, or the reason I'm asking you about government engagement is I would want to understand government involvement.
Yeah.
Is there anything? What is the government doing with these cases? I mean, you just told me now about the struggle of pregnant women, and with the 560 that you're talking about, the woman doesn't get that 560 until the child is born.
Sure.
Is there a support for pregnant women in the country?
So the Union Against Hunger has 10 demands. That's our standing identity demands.
Okay.
But when we go to communities and have engagements, communities also add their own demands. But our identity demands is that one of those demands is that we want grant to increase.
Yes.
Because if you look
and
at
you're not
560,
the only ones.
If you look at 560,
and
you can't breastfeed, you need to buy formula. I ask women out there, formula is for 400.
Yes.
And you pay daycare, there's just a lot happening. So it's not enough. So we are saying practically, let's try to increase social grants.
Yeah.
As part of our demands.
Yeah.
Secondly, we are also advocating for that grant, the poverty food line to be met. At least, and let's see how it goes, right? Thirdly, we're also introducing a grant that is called the Maternal grant.
Okay.
For the security of making sure the next generation survives.
Okay. How does that grant?
The Maternal grant, when you are pregnant, there's a time where you go for your antenatal classes and whatever. When you start that process, you then qualify for a grant.
Oh, yes.
So that the nutrition process can start until they are 1,000 days. And we are also advocating for access to land. People sometimes don't want to be given the food parcel. They just want access to land and plant their own food and eat healthy in that format. Affording 3 meals a day does not mean you have to eat body bacon and whatnot. But if you do gardening, there's your spinach, your potatoes and whatnot, you can survive. And so we advocating for the access to land. We also advocating for what we call wealth tax. You were asking about the Ferrari and the Porsche.
Yes. Because I was thinking about that.
And we know that the rich in this country, unfortunately, are taxed as normal as a person working. The billions and millions they make after is just for them to eat and enjoy.
Yeah.
So we are asking for those millions and billions to be taxed, so that we can address the issue of hunger.
Okay.
Right? And the reason why we are advocating for that is because I'm sure you know, for South Africa, it is number one in the world for a country that is unequal.
Yes.
Inequality is a
I didn't know that it's number one, but I know that we are very, very unequal in this country. Inequalities. Yeah.
Very, very unequal. To a point that even their child we are talking about, as they are giving birth to Atlamol Fatin, they already fall in the spectrum of inequality.
They're actually unequal in the womb.
Exactly.
Yes, like...
You see? So we are trying to readdress those issues.
Yeah.
But also advocating for policies to change, especially because in this country we're asking that 20 million people go to bed hungry.
Yeah.
In this country, 10 million tons of food is thrown away by retailers every year.
In the same country, where 20 million...
10 million tons of food. Let me explain this.
Yeah.
So, you can think of countries, I don't know, African countries, I don't want to mention it because I'm not really sure, but I'm just making an example. Other countries, our close neighbors, they have an issue of access to food.
Okay.
Generally, as countries, right? Remember South Africa, we don't have issue of food, like hojala. We have enough food in this country. That's the messed up part about the situation. Okay. Farmers are working, the retailers are making, but I can name all these brands.
Yeah.
They produce so much. Food is being wasted from the farms. Then the process of processing
the food, yeah.
And then after that, food is then delivered to the retailers.
Yeah.
In that space,
yeah,
that process,
from the ground to the retail,
that just doesn't make it and is thrown away. And secondly, if you are in a retail store and only a certain cold juice or whatever that will be expiring in a day or a week before whatever, those could get disposed.
Okay.
If you know someone who's ever worked in a retail store, please ask them for me. I don't want... I want you to get that proof.
Yeah.
If they get caught collecting that food for their families, they get fired. Because the mission of that food is to be destroyed. So statistically, 10 million tons of food being destroyed every year, the process called food wastage, can feed 2 billion families 3 meals a day for 2 years.
What they throw away in a year?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. We really need to rethink how we do things. We really need to rethink how this country policies work. This is just on another level. It doesn't make sense at all.
So legislation is that we are fighting for food wastage to become unlawful. Because what we are trying to imagine is a country where every single individual without an employment status, you just wake up and have nothing to worry about when it comes to food. Imagine what kind of a country we would be. What kind of a society we would be.
Power of people together.